Hi everybody, we're here in the Franz Kafka video game taking a look at the missable achievements. For this particular video, we're going to be covering the Meticulous achievement, which is unlockable on level 5. For this achievement, we have to interact with all the game pieces on the board. We have to do this in a fairly particular way to make sure that we don't miss out on any of them. It's pretty forgiving, but we're just going to do it as early as possible so I can show you all the pieces you need to interact with. So once Franz and the dog come out, we can click through their dialogue. Before we interact with the die down here, we want to interact with all of the Scrabble pieces that are visible. Just make sure that each one of them pops up to make sure that you actually interacted with them. You don't want to accidentally try to click on one and then accidentally hit the game board instead and not get one of them. Next, we want to interact with all of the game pieces that they look like the same pieces that you'd use for Sorry, but maybe like an older version of it. I feel like there is a game that used these particular pieces, but it doesn't come to mind. Regardless, you just have to interact with each of them once each. They just slide back and forth, so as long as you've interacted with them once, you'll get credit for it. Lastly, before we start moving the die, in the center of the board is a knight. When you click on it, the cursor becomes translucent like it does for everything else that you've interacted with. And you will hear a distinct like whinny or neigh. Once you've done that once, you'll get credit for moving the knight. Now, we don't move it under our power. It actually moves to block us, but don't worry about that. You don't have to do it every single time that something changes on the board. Once you've clicked on something, you get credit for it. So we're going to roll the die. Last time I tried to record this, I had some pretty good rolls, so let's see if my luck continues. So we're going to roll again. Okay, not bad. All right, once we reach this particular spot here, every time the horse is going to block our way, so we have to find a way to bypass. If you look in the space where the knight was, in between the two buildings, is another little block. It's going to be another Scrabble piece. Just because you've interacted with it, just because you've clicked on it does not mean you interacted with it. So we want to click on the actual bee itself to make it pop up like we did with the rest of the Scrabble pieces. Don't have any evidence of that, but people that are missing this achievement, that could be the reason why, that they don't actually interact with the bee itself after you've knocked it down. So after that, we want to hit the brush, and we're going to draw a new pathway for us. We then want to continue rolling the die to move us forward. Oh, nice, a 6. Some good rolls. I'm going to roll one more time. Nice. Once you are halfway in between the word brush, I think it's like really any of these three pieces, any of these three spots on the game board, this die is going to change, which is a pretty cool die. I don't know what the other sides do, but once we roll, and this would be pretty good for like Magic the Gathering or D&D. Once we roll, we get a coffee break. I don't know how much mana that costs, but it's pretty cool. A coffee cup is going to show up on the game board. I don't really know if this counts as a game piece, but you can interact with it, so I would still do it just to make sure, instead of having to play the level over again because you missed the coffee cup. So just click on it. It just goes up, just the same way the Scrabble pieces do. The saucer does not do anything, so don't worry about that. We want to roll again. However, what you might find out is that if you roll, Kafka is in no rush to move on. So we have to figure out why he's not in a rush. So if you notice down here, the only change to any of the houses on the game board is this one here, where the garage opens up. So if you click on the garage, a Monopoly car comes out. Once that happens, you should get the Meticulous achievement. It should pop up for you. At this point in the game, you want to make sure that you've interacted with all the pieces, which you could still do. As of right now, there's no pieces that have been removed. So just make sure that you've gotten credit for everything, including the horse. And then click on the Monopoly car again. In order to get Franz to move, we actually have to open this up, knock the die into the car, and then into the coffee. We lose the ability to continue with the car. You can't click on the car itself, so don't worry about that. It's really only the action of clicking on the garage door that counts. So we will move on. The garage is going to close, and then you can still interact with any of the other pieces as well. The coffee cup and the car are no longer interactable, though. So by this point, you should have the Meticulous achievement, and again, that is on level 5. That's everything you need to know for this particular achievement. In the next video, we're going to be covering level 13, which is the linguist achievement. So we'll see you in the next video. Again, thank you so much for watching. Please take care now.